have some photos to look at some the architectural creativeness in Ann Arbor and what can be done in historic districts and outside. Tell us just quickly before the photos come up and we have the screen, if we can have the screen so we could see it. When was the last historic district conferred?
The last one was I think not 2008,
2008. Yes.
The Broadway Historic District. But the first one was the Division Street Historic District in 73. So not long after the state had passed its enabling legislation for historic districts. That was 1970 that the state passed the enabling legislation, and in 73 we had the first district here, followed by followed by a number, but the old West Side was in 78, and that's probably our biggest district.
So the districts can vary in size. I mean, my understanding they can be just a couple of houses?
They can.
As
just one. Cobblestone Farmhouse is its own district.
Very good. Very good. So let's look at a few sites. The first one we have, look, do you see the monitor?
Yes, I can.
Is the construction of the new CVS on State Street.
Right.
And is this an example of just keeping the facade?
Well, this is an example of keeping the facade when nothing behind the facade was of any significance any longer. The site had two houses that had been joined together at one point in its history, and there was very little historic fabric left. What remained of the historic fabric could not be seen.
Okay.
And so the CVS group is going to restore the facade and build a new building behind it.
Okay, and there's another one. We have the Carnegie Library. In 1907, Carnegie Library on the new U of M North Quadrangle residential. There we have it. So maybe you can tell us, Norm, how historically valuable is this approach of facadism? Because this is just...
different people have different opinions of
Yes.
it. I think the university felt that there was enough history to this building. They couldn't fit the entire building within the North Quad, and so they tried to incorporate what the primary historic character of it was. This is something that is more common in other communities than it is in Ann Arbor. This is relatively new to us, and it's a very controversial part of preservation. And I think that you'll find a variety of opinions on whether this is appropriate. And I could show you some horrible examples, but I can also show you some that I think most people would agree are wonderful examples of preserving the facade.
So is this a wonderful example?
You want me to give an opinion?
Yes.
I'm willing to live with it.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, just you can see how tall the building is and how that's kind of whether it's just a facade. All right. So,
but at least we do have that, and it was quite a substantial building in Ann Arbor's history, and I think that at least we do have that.
Okay. And the next we have just a picture because of a sign, because when we were looking at this, we looked up and there was a street sign. There we have saying Historic District, and you told me, Ellen, that the historic paid for this and did it itself. Is that correct?
The district, the Old Fourth Ward itself, the Old Fourth Ward Neighborhood Association did the signs. The city put them up, but the historic, the Neighborhood Association paid for the signs.
Yeah.
One of the reasons this is important is because a lot of people don't know they're in a historic district when they live there, and they need to have the recognition in a public way. What we found is that realtors don't do a good job of explaining you're buying a house in a historic district because they're concerned about having any encumbrance on the property. And so a lot of people don't know they're buying into a historic district. It's an advantage to do so, but I think it's really just a recognition that this is a special part of town.
All right. Yeah. So, I thought it was very nice, and to me, it's almost a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I mean, if I'm driving down and say, oh, look, let's see what's there.
We're very proud of them.
Yes, very proud.
And we have some people who've just recently asked for historic designations for their houses.
Yes.
And
Which
so
is-
they put them on
Yeah,
the side of
which
their
is
houses.
Very nice. So now I have some examples of maybe called infill.
Right.
Here we have, I thought this was wonderful.
It's a great example.
It's right, and this is this harmony. My question in this one is, can one really tell the difference? Can one really tell as you're walking by which is the historic and which is the new? Because I thought that they're supposed to be compatible but differentiated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And if I asked
Yes.
you, which would you say? Or
Well,
is
it was hard. Remember when we were there, I
Yeah.
see the stone on the green building, and that reminds me kind of my parents' home. So
Right.
but the other one I was hard. But you pointed out things that told me, and when we looked at the foundation and things, maybe we can have the next shot of that. We have several pictures of it.
the house on the greenhouse on the right
There we go.
has fabric that was present and used during the period that it was built. It's probably an early 1920s house, or a little bit earlier than that. The house on the left, the infill, is compatible in scale and size and mass, and it uses some of the same historic characteristics of the neighboring properties, but it's a simpler version. The materials that are used are modern material. They use cementitious siding, which is a modern material. It's not a wood product. The foundation is
Yes, you
poured
pointed
cement
that, yes.
foundation. So I think to an eye that recognizes what is available in the modern day and not available and wouldn't have been available in the historic day, you could certainly tell the difference between these two houses, or you could certainly tell which is the younger
Yeah, I
one.
thought it was wonderful. I mean, that it's a small lot, and they were able to, a perfect example of infill, a beautiful
Right.
example of infill,
Yeah.
I think. So the next one is very different. It's, to me, a very modern, contemporary, and so can you just, again, we have three views of this. Why this is acceptable in a historic district? This is right near the university lot.
Right. This was one of the most interesting proposals that we've had, and it is connected to the historic building by just a very narrow connection, so that the historic fabric of the original house is not damaged. It's not impacted by the addition. The addition is clearly differentiated by it's a very contemporary lines, contemporary materials, and because of the configuration of the lot, it allowed for this. You
Could
see
we have the next view, please? Yeah, because we have another view of it. Yes.
if you see it from the front of the house,
There you go.
even this still gives you quite a view of the addition. But if you look at the house and you're standing in front of it, the addition is really almost not visible.
We have one more view that might help you. So it's an important thing that it's in back and
It's
not.
an important thing that
yes.
it's in back of it's in the less
Visible
part of the historic structure. What do you think about this one?
I'm not familiar with this
Was it-
project, so yeah.
Right. It just seemed that it was it's so striking to see such a modern
Addition.
In the historic area. But I think it's a wonderful example, trying to show people what they can do, that you're not limited, right?
I agree. I think there's a lot of flexibility in the Secretary standards when you're considering additions, and that being mindful of the historic structure is primary, but that you can be very contemporary when you add on to a historic house.
Yeah, I was really amazed by that. We really are almost out of time. Is there any, in 2 seconds,
I'll let you do this.
really any point that you want to punch home?
I just want to say I appreciate your interest in
Yeah.
dealing with this topic. I think it's really important to the community
Yes.
to recognize and be educated on the many aspects of preservation. It is difficult for the Historic District Commission sometimes to deal with all of these issues because it deals not only with heritage but also social issues and economic issues, and so
Yes.
the more we understand it, the better.
Yes, I agree.
And Nancy, I'd like to add that Jill Thatcher at the city is just a wonderful resource for people, and that I hope people will call her or go to the city website and find the information that's available to them there.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. We're almost out of time, and I want to thank you, Ellen and Norm, for this examination of the possibilities and the challenges of historic districts. It's really been an education. And so I want to thank you all for watching, and Other Perspectives has been on the air for well over a year. And I want to thank you, our audience, for giving our program your support. And I also want to thank the all-volunteer crew whose hard work makes this show possible. And of course, thank you to the very supportive people at CTN. So what are you thinking we should discuss? Write to me with your comments and your suggestions. You know, we always welcome other perspectives. See you next time. Bye for now. Well, thank you very much.